funny, and it was cool seeing all these different characters in these different situations. It was cool, but it underperformed in the box office. But the 4 Star Wars films, the newer ones that have released, have earned almost $4.5 billion worldwide. That is insane. So overall, their movies have been a success, despite underperformance of Solo. So since The Last Jedi was released, there's been some within the Star Wars fandom that have placed blame and criticism on direction of movies and the way that the movies have gone, and they place the blame solely on Kennedy. Even though Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, came out and said, hey, I place the blame of the timing of Solo's release on myself because that was my bad. He was, trying to mimic the release calendar of the Marvel, the MCU, and that's not what they need to do with Star Wars. And he realized that, there's such a thing as too much Star Wars for some people, and it was obvious with Solo. Even though I don't necessarily agree with that, I don't feel like it was an overabundance of movies. If they, they've been doing one a year, if they honestly would have just done Solo during Christmas time this year rather than May, I feel like it would have been a success because, James Cameron figured out with Titanic and with Avatar that during December there's not really a whole lot of big box office movies coming out, and even if it's just an okay movie like Avatar, it's going to do really freaking well in the theaters. And I think that's why DC moved Aquaman to December, because they realized the same thing. There's going to be a trailer released tomorrow at New York Comic Con for Aquaman, so I'm really looking forward to that. I'll talk about that in the bonus episode on Monday. But I feel like that was their plan with Aquaman, was to release it in December because they know there's not going to be a whole lot of competition. But so going back to Kathleen Kennedy, what so many people don't realize, and I've seen it on Twitter, I've seen it on Facebook comment sections, I've seen it on Instagram comment sections, on anytime something Star Wars is posted, and it could be completely non-related to the movies. It could be about a comic book, it could be about a video game, it could be about a board game, and someone always brings up Kathleen Kennedy and Rian Johnson. It's insane how people are so foaming at the mouth, like, I gotta talk crap about these people. But it's like with Kathleen Kennedy, so many of them don't realize that she's been involved with Lucasfilm long before The Force Awakens. And not just that, but she was a producer on Raiders of the Lost Ark and has been a part of production on over or almost 100 films. And some of them were including E.T. the Extraterrestrial, Ponyo, Jurassic Park, AI Artificial Intelligence, The Sixth Sense, and Schindler's List. Like, these are all movies that are resounding successes. Like, these movies are legitimate box office successes. They're fan favorites. They have cult followings, and some of them even spawn sequels. Like Jurassic Park and like the Indiana Jones movies. And it's just so frustrating that so many people don't understand. She's influential. She knows what she's doing, and she's good at her job. Because me personally, I didn't find any big faults with these newer Star Wars movies. They've all been really either extremely fantastic in regards to Rogue One or The Force Awakens, or they've been, pretty good, like Solo and The Last Jedi. And, J.J. Abrams is doing Episode 9, and, there's been rumors circulating that he's going to be touching on, the subject of Rey's parents. So, which I've been saying since The Last Jedi, Kylo Ren saying, your parents were nobody. That was him just, trying to manipulate her and beat her down and degrade her so that way she would join him and the dark side. Like, I put no stock into what he told her. And so all these people who were like, well, that, Rian Johnson ruined the mystery behind her parents. And it's like, no, he didn't. Like, what happened in the movie made sense in character for Kylo Ren. Like, he was trying to manipulate her to help him defeat Snoke. Like, and that's how he did it. He did. Like, it worked. And so I feel like people just need to quit acting like these movies are made solely for them. And if they don't like them, that's fine. But I also don't understand the need or the want to continuously talk about something that's negative in your life. Like I used in an example in a discussion in a comment section, a thread about, I was a pretty big Halo fan. I thought Bungie did a great job with all the Halo games that they did. And then once 343 Industries took over, I wasn't a huge fan of what they were doing with Halo. I didn't like the direction of it. I thought the campaigns were kind of an afterthought. I didn't really feel like there was good pacing or good storytelling with the campaigns. And I know, people are like, well, you're playing Halo for the campaign. What do you expect? But Bungie put a lot of effort and they put a lot of thought into their campaigns and the story and the lore. And I didn't feel like 343 Industries was doing the same thing. And so I just realized, hey, these games aren't for me anymore. And, I check out the reviews and, there's a few people, game reviewers that I pay attention to. And whenever they would review Halo, I would, take stock in what they said. And most of the time they would say, hey, yeah, this game, it's multiplayer focus game. And so I'm like, okay, well, yeah, then it's, that's the direction Halo players as a whole wanted to go with it. I didn't like it, but I'm not going to comment on every single post of Halo talking like crap about how 343 ruined my experience with Halo, because it just doesn't make sense to do that. And that's not a way to live your life. And, if that's how you feel you have to be with Star Wars, I just hope you get help, because I don't know. I don't see the point in talking negative about something and constantly focusing on it. And I understand, it seems kind of ironic or hypocritical coming from me, giving my thoughts and opinions about certain things, and I know I kind of rail on the DC movies a little bit, but I always try to find something positive for the most part. In any time I'm going to say something negative, I try to, polish the positives as well. So yeah, that's all I have on Star Wars. But moving on to, I guess it's kind of Marvel news. Well, not kind of, it is. So a few days ago, Deadline reported that Fox is going to be releasing a PG-13 family-friendly version of Deadpool 2. And on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, it didn't matter where it was posted, who it was posted by. The majority of fans were completely upset. They're like, well, this is, Disney trying to, or this is Marvel trying to Disneyfy the merc with the mouth, and they're trying to tone down the merc with the mouth, and you can't do that. You can't tone him down. And for me, I was just kind of sitting back, and I was kind of just taking it all in, and it's like, guys, all they said was that they're going to be releasing a PG-13 version of Deadpool 2. But according to a tweet by Ryan Reynolds, you can tone down the merc with the mouth, and it's with the little help of someone named Fred Savage. And it appears Savage will be reprising his role from The Princess Bride and will have the story of Deadpool 2 recounted to him by Deadpool himself. So the details are scarce so far, but with a release date of December of this year, I'm sure we'll probably find out more. And I mean, Comic-Con is this weekend. I kind of feel like we'll probably get some more information about the PG-13 Deadpool movie this this weekend. I'm not 100% sure on it, but I feel pretty good of the chances of something being announced this weekend, whether it's tomorrow or Sunday, because it's not like a huge announcement for Marvel or for Fox or whichever. So I definitely feel like it'll be this weekend. And if not, I'll be greatly surprised. But I think that's really smart. It's super funny. You know, it's breaking the fourth wall. That's like a total Deadpool thing to do. And I think it would be kind of funny, you know, because like the clip of him, you know, before we even got a full-fledged Deadpool movie, like that screen testing of him where he's sitting up on the bridge and he's coloring that picture, which eventually, you know, made its way into the movie, of Deadpool 1, I think it would be cool to have him, you know, kind of going back to that and like doodling and coloring with crayons, you know, like the super graphic, gory stuff, or like, you know, once it gets into like the really harsh language, you know, him like saying other words or something like that, you know, like made up funny words over the harsh language and like the F words and stuff like that. I think that would be really funny. So I'm actually really looking forward to this, if this is what they're going to do with the PG-13 version of Deadpool 2. I'll gladly go to the theaters on Christmas, you know, over Christmas holiday, and I'll gladly go watch the PG-13 Deadpool 2 movie, because I think that's a hilarious idea, and I really, really hope they do it. And lastly, I'm just going to close with some positivity. So a while ago, Toys R Us had announced that they were filing for bankruptcy. They were going to auction off their brands of Toys R Us and Babies R Us, and the internet went sad, and people went and bought out all the closeout sales of Toys R Us, and, you know, there was pretty, you know, they laid off thousands of employees across the nation, I think even internationally, I'm not sure. But so sold off, you know, majority of their stuff, and they were going to auction off their company, like the website, the trademarks, the brands, everything. And then now there's been a report that the bankruptcy auctions have been canceled, and they're now looking to revive their brands of Toys R Us and Babies R Us. And a part of me, so like as a whole, or almost a whole, I'm pretty excited about this. I think this is super cool. Toys R Us was a huge staple. Not just my childhood. I know this is anecdotal, but thousands, if not millions of kids across, you know, the world, the nation, whatever it is, Toys R Us was a huge staple of their childhood and growing up, and then now, you know, and then their kids' childhood. And so I think this is really cool, but a small part of me truly believes that the whole bankruptcy announcement and all of that was maybe just a ploy. I think it was kind of them like, well, crap, you know, we're going to take a major hit. And so they announced the bankruptcy. And so people went out trying to support them, and they sold out so much stuff in all these different stores. And I think it was a way for them to kind of just like, you know, because they laid off everybody. And I think it was just kind of like they just hit the restart button, and this was just their restart, and they're just starting over. And I think they were able to prove their, you know, show a profit, and now this is try number 2. I hope that's not the case, because like I said, thousands of people did lose their jobs over it. And, I hope that's not what the whole case, you know, what the case was all along, but, I'm excited nonetheless for Toys R Us to come back and reopen their stores, and maybe do it a little smarter this time, maybe kind of change with the times, because I know a lot of their policies and a lot of their stuff, like, and their sales and all that, and the items they would carry, it was kind of out of touch with the market and consumers as a whole. You know, there would be stuff there that you would be like, what the hell is this? Why do they have this? But then stuff that you would totally expect to be there was never there. Or like they would have stuff listed and you would show up and it wouldn't be there. But then when you would call the store later, like, oh no, yeah, it's been in our warehouse or whatever for, you know, about a week. We just haven't put it out on the floor yet. So I think they just need to like if anything, just rebrand